Hello, everyone. My name is Maria Lipneva, and I'm an FWO postdoctoral fellow at the Ghent Center for Buddhist Studies in Ghent University in Belgium. Today, I'd like to talk about what I do when I encounter a Chinese official in the texts on the premodern history that I'm dealing with. To be more specific, what database I use to find out details on the official career of such a person, and how I utilize this information to improve my academic writing. This is the example that I'd like to share with you today. The text is called 弘慈广济寺碑铭. 弘慈广济寺 is the name of the monastery that I'm studying. 碑铭 is an inscription of a stone stele that was erected in that monastery. And here I have the author of the inscription, Ming Wan'an 大学士. Ming is the dynasty, the Ming dynasty. Wan'an is the name of this person, and 大学士 is one of his titles. As I'm working on the history of this monastery, of course, I want to know who this patron was that wrote this inscription. In the colophon at the bottom of the inscription, I find more information about this person, Wan'an. Starting from here, 光禄大夫 and so on are various titles that he held. And this place, Pingshan, is where he came from. So, to include this Wan'an into my paper, I basically want three things. First, I want to know his dates, when he was born and when he died, because usually you have to indicate this when you mention a name. Second, I want to find out what sort of an official he was. Was he an important capital official or a local, small-scale official? And finally, I want to use all this information to write a detailed footnote that will demonstrate the depth of my inquiry. The first thing is dates. I go to this database, 人物传记资料库 by Academia Sinica. Here at the bottom, there is a button, 查询检索. I press the button. Here, I already entered his name, actually. And I just press 查询 at the bottom. Here, I have Wan'an from the Ming dynasty. So I press on his name. Here, I have lots of information about this person. First of all, I got the dates. But the question now is, how do I show in my paper where I took the dates from? Now I'll show you what it looks like in the paper. So Wan'an is the first person that I mentioned in this paper. So I wrote this, preliminary note about the lifespan dates and IDs and so on, that they all come from this database, 人物传记资料库, that I have just shown you. And I also need the ID of this person. When I mention his name, Wan'an, I make this footnote, and it leads here. So the ID in this database is like this. The ID here in the database stands at the very bottom. Okay, here it is. 权威号 is the ID. So I copy this into my paper. Well, probably I should also have indicated the year when he passed the metropolitan examination, the 进士. Okay, I didn't do it in that paper, but sometimes in books or papers by other scholars, I see that they indicate the life and lifespan, these days of birth and death, and then they would put a semicolon and they just write 进士 and they indicate a year, because it already shows you that the person passed the highest level of the examinations in the country. And to convert the traditional date, you can use the date converter, and I have a separate video about it. I'll put the link in the description of this video. And now let's go back to our Wan'an. The second task that I had was to deal with all these titles and to find out how high an official he was. First of all, of course, I need to translate these titles in readable English. For this, we have an authoritative source that is called the Dictionary of Official Titles in Imperial China by Charles O. Hucker. It's a very good book because in the beginning, it has a long introduction that explains how the government system in China was organized during various periods of times. But for now, I will just use it to translate the titles. I will begin with Guanglu Dafu as an example. I find the entry for the Guanglu Dafu here. Okay, here it is. Guanglu Dafu. Okay, let's try to make it a bit bigger. So I have the Grand Master for Splendid Happiness. This is the translation that I will move into my paper. And take note that in different periods in Chinese history, a title could mean different things. So here is between Su and Qing is where the Ming Dynasty occurs. So I will, write the information from here that in the Ming Dynasty, this was the 1B rank. And this will appear in my paper. So he was the Grand Master of Splendid Happiness, Guanglu Dafu, rank 1B. And also I add the time when he served in various capacities. And it also comes from this database. So for Guanglu Dafu, we don't have specific days. We only have the reign period, Chenhua. So in my paper, I just indicated unspecified time during the Chenhua period. And these are the dates of the whole Chenhua period. But for some other positions, actually there are dates in the database, like this one, Libu Shangshu. It has this Chenhua 14 to Chenhua 23, and I converted these dates with the online converter, and I got this lifespan, or this span in this position. And for all the positions, I got the rank, and I identified that the highest was 1A, actually. So eventually, in the main text, I indicated that the inscription was by a prominent capital official of rank 1A. So it does make a difference, right, between saying that the inscription was by Wan An or inscription was by a prominent capital official of rank 1A named Wan An. And in the footnote, I provide all this information based on which I actually concluded that he was a prominent capital official of rank 1A. So yeah, that's how I dealt with Wan An, how I use this database. I hope that you find it useful for your own academic writing, and thank you for watching this video.